the show begin. Next generation for the win. We're going all in. All together now, let's begin. Let the show begin.
Wonderful. So, that last presentation by Hermione, sweet dreams of travelers are no longer anchored on destination. People no longer say where they want to go, they talk about why they want to go, and they're seeking the experience. What did you think of that?
I actually think if you've built a strong enough brand, then the role of destinations is very strong.
Okay.
I think that it reminds me of the quote by Maya Angelou, that people will forget what you do, but they will not forget how you made them feel. And I think the goal of destinations is to invoke that priceless memory of how you felt, that people will want to experience that emotion over and over again.
Okay, so we're going to get deeper then into how you make people feel and how you're building a destination brand that's strong enough for them to want to come and experience it. So Belina, we're going to start with you. Mandai Wildlife Reserve, always expanding, made up of 4 parks now. You got the zoo, night safari, river wonders, and bird paradise. So let's play a video, and we're going to show you the bird paradise, I think. You love birds? Let's play the video. I love birds.
Wonderful.
All right, so now you're developing the 5th park, which is Rainforest Wild. So what are you building here that will be next generation, that will be different from the rest?
Yeah. So maybe I take a few steps back, and I shared with you previously, some of the audience may not know. I think at Mandai Wildlife Group, our purpose is to build a world where people and wildlife thrive together. I think the world is at the brink of the 6th mass extinction. The habitat loss and species extinction is accelerating. So when we think about our role and the role that our wildlife parks play, it's really to create meaningful memories and connections that inspire people to fall in love with wildlife and to be able to protect nature and all living beings that share this world with us. So the challenge for Mandai Wildlife Group has always been that the core segment, families with young kids, as a parent, you kind of know, you bring your kids to the zoo, you'll be going there every week, every month, and then suddenly they grow up and the zoo starts becoming less cool. So mine magically turned, Ma, I'm not following you to the zoo anymore at about 12. So one of our biggest challenge has been how do we attract the teenagers, the youth, the young working adults to continue coming to our parks, right? To experience the magic of nature and wildlife. And Rainforest Wild exactly solves for that segment. So it's going to be more adventure-driven. It's going to be quite unlike the usual zoo where you go and you immerse and you have almost a known, predictable experience. It's going to inject fun, adventure.
More interactive.
More interactive.
More tech.
More adventure, action, peekaboo moments, we call it. So, hopefully the new audience that we're going to engage will love it. But yeah, so we're looking forward to welcome all of you. So while we say it's targeting the young teenage audience, it's for everyone who is young at heart.
Yeah, it's
anyone who's seeking an adventure.
Yeah, but teenagers and youths, most challenging segment, and with the attention span that is like 12 seconds now. So good luck.
Thank you.
All right, so Melanie, you joined the Royal Commission of AlUla in 2019 before COVID, and I don't know how you felt after that, but anyway, you wanted to develop a destination brand for this UNESCO World Heritage Site. And you launched your first global brand campaign in February. So we're just going to play the video and then you can explain. Okay.
You may have never met, but she has nurtured humanity for over 7,000 years. An ancient oasis where culture, literature, and art sprang to life. Her promise is to revitalize, always and in all ways. Welcome to AlUla.
Absolutely magical.
Thank you.
So actually, I'm going to go off script a bit, right? Because
I knew you would.
because watching that video again, and then sort of watching This Land is Calling latest campaign by Saudi, right? You know, there seems to be this woman thread coming through. Right? You were very big on the woman voice and the women characters, and this is very much about This Land is Calling is aimed at the women traveler. Is that kind of a deliberate strategy, or does that come from the heart, that you feel like this land is really feminine?
I think a bit of both. I mean, as a female going into Saudi from Australia, where I'd spent 30-odd years, I had the typical stereotypes about this country. And to be part, as I have of the last 5 years, of such amazing economic and social change, and to see women taking their rightful place in society, I think it was only appropriate that we had a woman at, as our key kind of advocate and the voice through which we spoke.
Yeah, I definitely felt that. So what's the vision for AlUla? You're going to develop it, but I hear that you're going to actually cap it with a max of visitors.
So let me just, by way of background, talk a little bit more about what is a county the size of Belgium in the northwest of Saudi. It's a place premised on 200,000 years of human history and 7,000 years of civilization. And I know in the early days of WiT, we were talking a lot about this word over-tourism. And we really do believe, and this brand ad that Hoon has just shown of ours is really about our purpose and our vision, which is to take very responsibly this legacy that we've inherited that is about ensuring that we don't just protect, but that we preserve and embellish what we leave for generations to come. So there's obviously heritage, there's this stunning nature-based offering that we have, these landscapes that geology has formed through the elements over the last 980 million years. We have a major mission. Belina, you talked about wildlife and preservation of species. We want to regenerate what is 50% of our land, which is nature reserves, and ultimately bring back that apex predator, highly threatened, the Arabian leopard. And then we want our community to be at front and center of what we're doing in the tourism space. So sustainability is very much about what we are and what we're trying to deliver.
Right, but you've actually set a visitor cap.
2 million tourists by 2035.
Okay, and so if you go beyond 2 million, you close the doors.
Well, I think it's about managing inventory, airline connectivity in line with that aspiration. And it's about monitoring how many people are at a site, for example, okay, so you're not having to nudge your way to get that Instagram moment or memorable photograph.
Okay. Do you have a cap?
We have a theoretical cap, and we manage that through inventory management and all. We believe that there is always going to be this constant struggle and balance between optimizing financial outcomes and optimizing guest experience and optimizing what's best for, in our case, animals. So for those of you who have not been to Mandai Wildlife Reserve, I encourage you to pay a visit. We have prioritized animal welfare as something that is sacrosanct, right? It is something that we hold as a very high moral sense of authority and a sense of responsibility, and to ensure that our animals are able to exhibit their natural behaviors, right? Whether it's in the design of our animal areas, whether it's in the way that our visitors would interact with the animals. I think we always ensure that there is that sense of, balance.
Especially these days, I think there's so much sensitivity now around, animal attractions. Okay, so now the thing is, like, both of you, I was trying to figure out, like, how do I connect this conversation? And because both of you are, like, such contrasting environments, so I went to AI for help, as always, as one does now. And I came up with some common elements that make what are a great destination experience. And these are the common elements. It's quite a long list, but let's show the slide, and it basically talks about, these are the common elements, all right, that makes a great destination experience. So if each of you could just pick one that you think you're focusing on to differentiate yourself from the rest, or one that you're proudest of, just one, and very briefly say which one.
Authentic, memorable experiences, if I can pinch the word memorable from Jason.
Okay, all right, authentic, memorable experience. You?
So I will pick memorable interactions with storytelling. I merged your options.
Typical, typical, must mix the two, okay.
So I picked memorable interactions through storytelling.
Okay, all right, memorable interactions and storytelling. Okay, so that's the one that you want to differentiate, but what's the one that you think you need to do better at? Pick one that you think you need to do better at, because you're not perfect.
Not by any means. My mother reminded me about that all my life.
I know. Melanie. Okay, which one would you pick that you need to do better at?
We're a destination in the early stages of our life cycle. We've only been open for 5 years when Saudi flung its doors open for international tourism as part of the Vision 2030 and the fact that we wanted to transform the economy away from oil. So we've just embarked on a big digital journey, committed to a MarTech stack. We still have a lot of work to do to understand what is pretty robust segmentation, but to understand it deeper and to be more personalized and to optimize from everything from pricing to channel management and media spend. So we've got work to do still.
All right, so you didn't pick from my list, right? All right. Because you were talking about marketing. I'm talking about the experience, right? So.
Well, I think digital is as much about service delivery in terms of the experience.
Right, okay.
So the more customized you are, the more you're being able to talk to people in using,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's about pre-selecting the kind of customers that you think will want to come to AlUla and respect it, right? So what kind of travelers do you think will fit that?
I think luxury travelers at the moment, we are very much a boutique destination that are interested in cultural immersion and that are predisposed to what is heritage of global significance.
All right. And for...
I will be good. I will pick from your list. It would be ease of accessibility and comfort. So whenever we talk about Mandai, locals will give you two descriptors. Mandai is very hot and Mandai is very far, right? And with global warming, Mandai also rains a lot. So thermal comfort, weather mitigation, rain mitigation, very top of mind for us. And then accessibility. Talk to anyone who's not native Singaporean and you say, wow, Mandai is very far. I'm like, what do you mean, right? Singapore, from point to point, nothing is more than 30 minutes apart. Like, what do you mean? But when you're trying to capture, say, stopover traffic, they don't have a lot of time. They have half a day, right? Would they spend all the time going to Mandai? Or would they go to somewhere more central? So I think these are things where we want to encourage more public accessibility. Another part of our sustainability goals is Singaporeans love to drive. Would they drive less? Would they take public transport to Singapore, to Mandai? And of course, if we talk about tourists and all, definitely public transport, sustainable transport.
What percentage of your visitation is local versus visitors?
About 60% tourists.
60% tourists, that's really high. What about for AlUla right now, domestic versus international?
35% is international, which has far exceeded our expectations, of which Europe is 16%.
Right. So you want to push the international share a lot more, clearly?
We do because we believe they have a longer length of stay and more of an economic opportunity. But that said, there is nothing more important than your home market for referrals in particular. And for us, it's about really leveraging that pride that Saudis have in what is this amazing destination.
Okay, so now let's have a debate, and we're going to involve the audience, because in the world of technology now, I want to quote Paul Thoreau, the author, right? And he said basically, if we can have the poll, to a large extent, technology has destroyed the travel experience by providing too much information, making it too easy, preventing true discovery and real solitude. Technology is too knowing. So to the audience, agree or disagree? Melanie, what do you think?
Disagree.
Disagree? Tell me why you disagree.
I think you can still deliver authentic experiences, but use technology as the enabler.
Right. Give me an example.
Well,
yeah, like one way you're using technology thoughtfully and not, obtrusively.
So AlUla is best known for Hegra, 100 beautifully preserved tombs that the Nabateans left us. And you all would know the Nabateans from Petra in Jordan. We use digital and facial reconstruction capabilities to recreate the bust of a Nabatean woman, complete with her date seed necklace and linen that she wore. This was a lady, we call her Hinat. She was found and she lived, well, she didn't live, her remains existed for 2,000 years in a tomb. And for us, that is the focal point that allows us to tell at the Hegra Visitor Center a deeper, richer story about a civilization that was ahead of its time, where women had such an important role in society. They could own property, they were wealthy, and the tomb actually says at the top of it, this is the tomb of Hinat, daughter of Wuhan, and it'll be here for her and her generations to follow. Really interesting.
So you can really use technology to enhance storytelling. That's I mean, I was 100%. Talking to a museum custodian too, and she said, and she's been doing it for 30 years, but she said, I've never been more excited to be a storyteller, to bring history back to life. You agree or disagree? I mean, the audience seems to disagree with Paul Thoreau.
I agree and disagree.
You agree and disagree.
Yeah,
okay.
So I think that we need to look at the visitor journey very carefully and look at the touch points where technology is an enabler and enhancer, and where technology actually hijacks the experience. When I first joined Mandai, experimented extensively, right? The last thing you want is people coming to the wildlife parks to fall in love in nature, and guess what? All looking down, right? No. So that is a bad touch point. That is where technology should not play a role. But, for example, back to animals having that ability to exhibit natural behavior, one of the downsides would be, hey, the animal's not in the exhibit, right? So there you have, visitors looking for, like, where is the tiger? He's actually sleeping. Is his time to nap? Can technology play a role there? Yes. So we have a mantra in Mandai that digital is there to enhance and enable, but not to hijack. And we look through all the touch points of the journey to see where it makes sense.
Okay.
And where it
So let's go through the list of how you can enhance destination experience. And I want you to just rate 1 to 10, 1 being the lowest in how you see that potential, right? So audio to us.
6.
8.
8. Immersive experiences.
10.
10.
Augmented reality.
8.
5.
Okay. AI customer agents.
Can I say something, or do I have to just give you a number?
You can say
I don't think my experience of it so far has been good, but I think AI will revolutionize it. So potentially into the future, high. 9, 8, 9.
10. 10.
10? Okay. Storytelling.
10.
10.
All right. Okay. Melanie, if you could teleport to any destination right now, where would you go?
I possibly, and I'm already premeditated in this, Antarctica with somebody like David Attenborough in tow in his younger days, maybe.
Okay. Belina, if you could learn from one animal, what would it be?
It would be the flamingo.
Pardon?
The flamingo.
Flamingo.
And, fun fact for all of you, when the flamingo gives birth to their young, they lose their pink for a couple of years. And that's because of the nutrition and the loss and the sacrifice, right? And it's such a beautiful story. I mean, as a fellow women, working mother, it reminds me of the seasons of life. It reminds me that there's a season where I have to sacrifice for my family and my children, but I will regain the pink. So they regain it after a number of years. And that's such a beautiful story that I think all working mothers can take some inspiration from.
Wonderful. And you probably regain it and get a hotter pink.
Absolutely.
All right. And Melanie, if you could go to Antarctica with a famous person, dead or alive, with you, who would it be?
I said David Attenborough.
David Attenborough, okay. And Belina, in the future, when space travel is a thing, which planet or moon would be your top vacation destination?
Wow, this was really hard. And I had to deep, like, okay, which planet? Probably none. But I recall, all the beautiful folklore and legends during Mid-Autumn Festival. So I would go to the moon and visit Chang'e and the Jade Rabbit.
Well, you definitely believe in stories and myths then. Please join me in thanking Belina. Oh, sorry, Melanie and Belina. It's too similar, your names. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
And right there